Hello folks, welcome to the Grey Area. My name is Dr. Grey. This week I'd like to share with you some tips that I use on keeping my social media in check. If you're like me and any other young person in this country and in the world really, then you could be struggling with social media and how you use it and the amount of time you spend on it. And it is not unusual to find yourself in a day that you spend half of the day on social media. The worst thing about it is that you actually don't get to feel that time passing by. And it's only later that you realize you're behind on deadlines and things that you needed to do that you haven't done simply because you were browsing Instagram or you were chatting away on Twitter or whatever other social media application you're on or use. You find that you spent a lot of time on it. And this has been my case for quite a while until I decided now to take control and discover or try and keep my social media apps in check. One of the things that I think I discovered is I spend quite a bit of time on social media. A lot of the smartphones now give you an account of how much screen time you spent on your phone. And this is particularly a feature I have used on the iPhone to see how much time I spend on each app. And I discovered that I spend close to even 2 hours a day on WhatsApp and Instagram. And that for me was a big problem because if you add up the time, it's actually quite significant. Perhaps if you just by simple math, 2 hours a day for 7 days a week, that's 14 hours. That's literally half a day, more than half a day if you're counting the day as 24 hours. If you think of it in terms of working hours, and if you work like say 8 hours a day, that's almost 2 days that you spent just staring on your at your phone. Now that prompted me to reduce that time significantly. It is impossible, in my opinion, to live without social media completely. So what I had to do is I had to make sure that I get my social media to work for me. And I get to share with you those tips that I used or have been using to keep my social media in check. The very first thing I discovered is, first of all, you don't have to be on all social media platforms. You don't have to be on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and all those other apps that are there, LinkedIn, you name them, all of them that are out there. You do not have to have subscribed or signed up on all of them. So for me, I'm actually left with technically only 3 social media apps. I have WhatsApp, I have LinkedIn, and I have Instagram. Unfortunately, in my line of work, WhatsApp has found a lot of significance in terms of sharing medical information with colleagues and senior consultants. A lot of my work, or rather rota and communication from my employers and colleagues happens on WhatsApp. So I can't do without WhatsApp. But I am actively thinking of a way of getting rid of WhatsApp. Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years I can live without WhatsApp. And 2, I have Instagram. But then I'll tell you how I get to manage my Instagram in a few minutes or so. And then also I have LinkedIn. Luckily for me, I'm not too hooked on LinkedIn. I use it once in a while to connect with professionals. I find it a very useful tool for connecting with professionals and just putting yourself out there professionally. The second thing is that, so just before I finish that point, so I actually deactivated my Facebook account. It's been over a year, I think now, since I was on Facebook. And I also closed my Twitter account. And this especially happened after I watched this series on Netflix called Social Dilemma. It's a mini-series. And for me, it actually just pushed me over the edge to stop using Twitter or try and reduce my time on social media. That was mind-opening for me when I found out that people who created these social media apps don't let their kids anywhere close these social media apps. So I, as a user, should also watch how much time I spend on social media. So first point, you don't have to be on all those social media platforms. The second one is that you don't have to have all these social media apps on all your devices. What do I mean? So say, for example, you have a tablet and you have a phone and you have a laptop. You do not have to install your social media apps on all of them. So personally, I have Instagram on my iPad. I do not have Instagram on my phone. I only have WhatsApp on my phone, WhatsApp and LinkedIn on my phone. What that has done, it has significantly reduced the amount of time I spend on Instagram. I used to spend a lot of time on Instagram, and that has having Instagram on my iPad has reduced the amount of time I spend on Instagram, because I do not walk around with my iPad all the time. So the trick here is increasing the friction between you and the social media app that you're using. That could take many forms. So one of the forms that I would recommend to you is try and uninstall some of these apps from your devices. So that you don't have it like on your phone and your iPad and easily accessible to you wherever you are. The third thing is you can try and use a browser instead of the app. So for example, you don't download the Instagram app or the Facebook app on your phone or your tablet or whatever other device that you're using, and you strictly use it on a browser, say Safari or Google Chrome or whichever other browser that you wish to use. Set a time limit for the various apps, or rather, yes, the various social media apps and platforms that you use. Unfortunately, I don't use Android, but I'm sure they have the same ability to do that. On the iPhone, you can set the amount of time that you can spend on an app or on a website. So personally, I've set a limit of 1 hour for all my social media platforms. So once the 1 hour mark reaches, the app is inactivated and you can't access it. Well, technically you can, but it prompts a question first. Do you want to access it for an extra hour, or do you wish not to access it, or do you wish to continue accessing it continuously? At least that also provides some friction between you and the social media app. What I have discovered with myself is that when I'm asked, do you wish to continue using the social media app? And at that point, I have to ask myself, do I really need to get on Instagram or LinkedIn or WhatsApp at that particular time? Most of the time, no, I don't need to. So that has also helped me significantly reduce the amount of time I spend on that app. And then reduce the people or the pages that you follow. And I have been taking this, or I have been recently reducing the number of people I follow on Instagram and the pages I follow on Instagram. And what that does, an added advantage of that, other than saving you a lot of time, is that it also reduces the number of ads that you get access to. Because the artificial intelligence that has been set up on these applications is founded on the information that you feed the app. The people that you follow, the pages that you follow, then they look at that, then recommend ads for you. So I've noticed my ads have actually reduced. And then there are many strangers I used to follow, which didn't add a lot of value to me. And I'm still in the process of reducing those followers. I think I used to have, or rather follow people I follow. I think I used to follow close to 2,000 people, and I've significantly reduced that to about 1,300. I target to go all the way down to maybe about 300 or so. And these should be people that I actively communicate with and people I personally know, rather than strangers that I do not know. Or if they're strangers, if they're strangers or people I personally do not know, they have to be people who motivate me or add value in my life. So folks, those are the tips that I had for you today. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I hope this video adds value to you and you get to keep your social media habits in check. Kindly remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you in the next video.